Henrietta and Myrna Newdorf right now singing.
Welcome to another episode of the Straight Edge Game Room. It's been a while, but since then I have gotten a video capturing device. Now I can do more console-based video game reviews. And today we're going to start off with a Bible game. I got a bunch of Wisdom Tree games here. And today we're going to look at King of Kings, the early years. Let's get into it. Kicking things off with some peculiar instructions on starting the game comes Wisdom Trees, King of Kings, with the logo extending an olive branch of misery. Starting things off, you got your choice of 3 different games, loosely based on 3 different occurrences in the Gospels. You have The Wise Men, Flight to Egypt, and Jesus and the Temple. I don't think you have to play these in any particular order, so the first one I'm going to show you is Jesus and the Temple. This game is prone to be very glitchy, and it feels like they didn't polish it up during development. It just feels like a game that was rushed and they didn't even test it out. You see, I got a Bible question right here. I guessed the right answer. Look what happens. That's no fancy editing of mine. You answered the question correctly and the game throws up on you. Now this doesn't happen all the time, but look what happens later. I start the game all over again. I make my way to the same spot where that Bible question is, and I answer it correctly. Look what happens. Oh my goodness. How am I supposed to play this? I'm sure they didn't intend for that to happen. It's just an example of how poorly this game is programmed. Now look what happens if I get the answer wrong. This time I reset the NES, selected the same game, made my way to the other Bible question, and this time I intentionally answered it incorrectly. And then look what happens. Yay! The game didn't glitch out on me this time, even though I answered the question wrong, and then I got killed by a bee. Forget this game. Now to be fair, most of the time that game will function properly, as properly as it can, but the control is so terrible and the gameplay is so difficult, I need to take a break from it and play something else. It's time to hop aboard the Burro Express because we're gonna play Flight to Egypt. I wonder if they were packing some coffee on that ride. This game right here, man, you got a long journey ahead of you to Egypt, and boy is it treacherous because everything wants you dead. Rocks, pebbles, snakes, lions, goats, and this idiot. Man, leave me alone. You got more of these Bible questions on the way, and they're vital. You better get these answers right because they're your health. That's another thing I gotta point out about this game are these Bible questions. You know, that doesn't really teach kids the Bible, that expects them to already learn it. Unless their objective was to get them to go grab a Bible, look up the answer, and then answer it correctly. I don't know. That's what I'm guessing. I don't have anything against video games based on the Bible. I'm not against making a video game that teaches the Bible, but don't put quizzes in the game. You're defeating the purpose of teaching the Bible in a fun way. Quizzes are not fun. You turn on the Nintendo and pop in a game. No, you put in the game before you turn on the Nintendo. Whatever. You play Nintendo because you want to have fun. You don't want to feel like you're doing homework. One quick thing I'm going to show you about Wisdom Tree games, also known as Color Dream games. Says so right there. They look like this. They're not officially licensed by Nintendo. Some of them were black and some of them were baby blue. This is what a standard officially licensed NES cartridge looks like. It says on the sticker that it uses NIV in the game, but when you play it, it actually uses King James, and that's the superior Bible version. I think that's the only English Bible version anyone should use. Can you believe that they also made games on the Sega Genesis? I believe there's also one on the Game Boy. So yeah, licensed, not licensed. Licensed, not licensed. Alright, last but not least, the Wise Men. Now this is actually the best of the three, but that's not saying much because the controls are slippery and the platforming is horrible. Get those Bible quizzes and stock up on as much health as you can because you're going to take a lot of hits in this lousy game. You just as well cover your NES controller in Marmalade. This one, I think they were going for an action platformer style game where you play as the Wise Men. Throughout different series of the levels, you play as a different Wise Man. They all do the same thing, and the camel has this spitting attack which arcs over the enemies like the Rock and Friday the 13th. Aside from the Bible questions, you collect frankincense, gold, and myrrh. And at the end of the stage, it tallies it all up and shows you how much you collected and how many points you earned, so you can go brag about it to Rod and Todd. A game with controls this bad is very difficult to explain. The controls are barely responsive. Sometimes they're not responsive at all. And a lot of times it feels like it just does whatever it wants. And these platforming jumps, you better get this down to a science, because if you don't, you're gonna fall and fall and fall and have to do this all over again if you don't fall to your death. Watch. Oh my goodness. And with these controls, it's harder than it looks. When done right, putting challenges in video games can be fun. But fix the controls first. Look at this mess. I'm trying to jump these platforms with this terrible control, and now you got pillars coming at you trying to push you off. Look at that. Stop! This game's hard enough as it is. Now there's stupid levels like this that make you drop down in faith, and hopefully you land on a platform. Other than that, you're gonna fall to your death. Luckily, I made it on this moving platform, and I assumed it was gonna carry me all the way through, but nope. Look what happens. Why? I trusted you! They put different weapons throughout the game. Each of them are fruit. I didn't know that they were weapons until I pushed the select button. The grapes act as a spreader. You got this stupid cherry which explodes. It's a cherry bomb, you get it? But try hitting an enemy with one of these. It's not easy. There's also this pear, mango, whatever it is. Yeah, it hits enemies. That's all I can say about that. Now my favorite weapon is the banana, because it hits enemies and then it comes back to you and you can eat it again and then spit it back out and hit someone else. Watch, I'm gonna kill 2 porcupines with the same banana that was in my slobbering mouth. Yeah, take that, punk. You too, you spiny piece of garbage. What kind of insults do you expect me to use? This is a family show. There's also bosses at the end of some of these stages. Another boss you're going to run into is this bear. He throws bones at you and he jumps up and down and shakes the level and makes stuff fall from the ceiling. Don't touch those sparklers, you want the fruit. Get the fruit, because that's the only thing that can hurt him. And with controls this lousy, you're probably not going to kill him the first time around, so you're going to have to go back and do it again. It was right here where I had enough of this game's lousy control and terrible platforming. It had been on my nerves for a while. Nope. That's it. I'm done. Needless to say, this is not a very good game. I don't recommend Wisdom Tree games if you want to play them for fun. They all feel like games that weren't finished being made, and Wisdom Tree games are collected mostly for their novelty appeal. They have their place in video game history, but for all the wrong reasons. Well, that concludes this aggravating experience. Thanks for dropping by. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment down below if you have any requests for any video game or video game accessory you want me to review. Please let me know. Thanks again, and stay beautiful.
Oh, no, not the bee! No! That's it! I quit!